Can you really build a relationship with God in a world that's constantly pulling you away? At what point does the religion that you were taught becomes the relationship that you choose? What does trusting God look like when your mental health is struggling, your boundaries are being tested, and you're just 23 and trying to survive? Let's talk about it. And I'm super excited to have you guys back. This week is going to be a little different from our normal. Anyways, this week we're going to kind of talk about how it is navigating with God at 23. Just the things that I have learned over these last 23 years. This is a video that I just felt on my heart to do. And so we're doing it. We're taking a break from our Luke series, but we will be back. We will be back. Okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. I have my bullet points, because I know I like to blab, and I don't want to blab too much because I could be sitting here all day. But let's talk about walking with God is not easy. I feel like this is one reason why I want to make this video. It is not easy for any age that you're at. I'm 23. It's not easy if you're 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. It's not easy. However this journey is, it's always going to be something difficult. I feel like especially the younger you are, it's just hard. It's hard because you're really trying to navigate and balance your worldly life with your spiritual life, and a lot of the times they do not align with each other, and it becomes a real difficult journey. And I feel like a lot of the times people are expecting perfection with you. When you tell someone I'm a Christian, you tell someone I'm walking with God, you tell someone that, just about your relationship, they look at you completely different. We uphold pastors to this standard. We uphold gospel singers to this standard. It's because we expect them to be like these perfect people, not realizing that they go through the same day-to-day things that we do. They are tried, they are tested, they go through these things just like us. And I feel like a lot of the times church folks are very judgmental when it comes to younger people in the church, the expectations that they have for us in the church. It is not easy trying to please a body of people and trying to please God. That's why you got to take out the people, because they're not going to be your ticket to the pearly gates. No, they are not. Okay, you may see them up there, you may not see them up there. The person that you need to please and form that trust with and that relationship is with God. And so that's where I want to talk about religion versus relationship. Oh my goodness, this is one of the biggest things I have learned over the last few years, especially, is the difference between religion and a relationship. And so growing up, I grew up in a Jamaican Caribbean household. If you know, you know. Church was not optional for me. I grew up in the church, guys. It was something I was always at church. I was at church on Wednesdays, Sundays, Saturdays. I was at church, okay? My grandpa was a board member at the church. My grandma served in the church. I was in the Friends Club, the Stars Club. Like, I even have my little sash with all my badges for knowing all the scriptures and everything. I had my own little ceremony. It was everything, y'all. If I had pictures, I'm gonna see if I can get my mommy to send me some pictures over so I can show y'all what I'm talking about, and then post them on here for y'all to give like a little glimpse of an example. I grew up in the church. I grew up with my grandmother, who did not play. Like, if we weren't going to church, we were getting up, playing our gospel music along with my mommy, and getting up, praising the Lord, praying, this, that, that. My mom and my grandmothers, I should say, did not play with me, okay? They didn't play with me, they didn't play with my brother, they didn't play about us building a relationship with God and being active in the church. So that was something that was really, really huge for me. So it was like we were just, it's like a routine. Like, I picked up this routine. Like, I go to church every Sunday. I used to go to church almost every Wednesday. If I didn't have like something big going on at school, studying or something like that, I go to church every Wednesday. I would go to church almost every Saturday with my grandma. I was at the church. Like, it was just a big thing for me. And I knew of God. This was something that I had to really sit back and reflect on. I knew of God, but I didn't really know him for myself. It was more of a tradition than a relationship. It's something that I always just did. It was just bland in a sense. I just woke up, I had to get ready for church, and I never really, I guess, felt the pressure. And I would say maybe when I was younger, so about maybe 12, 11, 12, 13, I feel like that's when A lot of the times at that age, when you're like 11, 12, 13, is when you're really trying to figure out life, especially for a young girl. Girls at that age, you're going through puberty, you're going through your changes, you know, you're getting your little cycle, you know, you're going through all these different changes hormonally, emotionally. And so I feel like that's when it became like a tradition for me, compared to maybe when you're a child. You really, I don't know, children have this innocence on them, but as you get older, you start to lose that innocence. You start to lose that thing, and you look at things as what it is. And it was just more of a tradition. And we all know what tradition is, something that you do on, it could be a daily basis, a yearly basis. Like some people, their tradition is to have tacos every Tuesday, or like, you know, your tradition at your house, maybe when someone gets married, you do this, or just traditional things that, you know, you just grew up with. So it's like, oh, we just do this because it's a tradition. You don't have a real like meaning behind it. It's just something that you're used to doing, like walking through those motions. And when I moved to Florida to go to school, everything changed for me in my life. I was impacted differently. And this is how my relationship my religion turned into a relationship with God. I classified myself as a Christian. I knew of God. Like I said, it was a tradition for me to do these things, but it wasn't like I was yearning for God. I wanted this relationship where I'm like, God, you know, like how I am with God now. And I was alone and I was overwhelmed, and it took a lot for me to step out of this comfort zone. And I had to decide, do I really want to walk with God, or am I just doing what I was taught? And it was something that was like, okay, I have to sit here and say, you know what? This is what I want to do, because I feel overwhelmed. I feel stressed. I feel this. And I feel like God is pulling me, but I don't know him well enough for me to even say that he's pulling me. And so I had to make this decision to walk with God. And this is the difference between it. Me and my friend used to talk about this all the time. Building a one-on-one relationship with God is a beautiful, but it's intentional. It's something that you do with intent on getting to know someone. And that goes with any relationship. And this is what I'm going to compare it to. A lot of people depend on the church to get to know God, but that is the bare minimum. The bare minimum. I thought when I moved to Florida, the first thing I needed to do was find a church. Okay, but when I go to this church, what is it really doing for me? I go to church, I go for an hour and 30 minutes, guys, and then that's it. I'm at church. If I'm not spending or taking the extra time Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm not truly building a relationship with God. I'm just doing this because this is what religion looks like. This is what they kind of tell you to do in religion. You just go with the motions. You pray, you worship, you cry, you listen to the sermon. It's not touching your spirit real good. The preachers have to preach lukewarm messages to you, so it doesn't hit you the same way, because sometimes I remember when I used to go to church, we'd hear the preacher say something. I'm like, girl, we just had that Bible study. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like I wanted something deeper than what I was receiving, because of how we treat religion. We treat religion as something that's just boom, 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 boom. And just because I go to church every Sunday does not mean I have a relationship with God. I think people have to stop that. What built my relationship with God was spending it with him in as what I would call my spare time. Yes, we are busy through life, guys. Do not get me wrong. We're very busy. We have work, we have school, we have commitments to do. But anytime I had a spare moment to be like, you know what, let me crack open this Bible. You know what, let me just spend 15 minutes with God as I'm about to navigate. I'm driving home. This is my time to spend with God before I have to go to work. And so reading my Bible, journaling, praying in every moment, worshiping, listening to podcasts and sermons, not just on Sunday. Those are my spare moments where I was building my connection, building my relationship with God. There were some times where in the morning, I had like an hour and a half drive when I first moved to Florida to school. And I would spend that whole time with God. I go to class, to class, to class. He was my first class every morning, which was a beautiful way to start my day. And just in between work, just all those times, I used to take this to myself. And I had to think about it like this. I can't get to know someone an hour and 30 minutes every day. When you're building a relationship, a lot of people are worried about relationships. Maybe, for example, you have a boyfriend or you have a girlfriend. You can't build a relationship with your boyfriend or your girlfriend if you only speak to them on Sunday for an hour and 30 minutes. If you're only speaking to them once a week, okay? And if we're really honest and if we're really real, some people who call themselves Christians and love Jesus so much spend no time with God unless they're in a sticky situation, which I'm not saying you're not supposed to, because God tells you to come to him at any time. But you have to think about your heart. You're only coming to God when you need him. You're not spending that quality time with God when he's been so good to you and he's giving you everything that you want to give him. But then we have those people that only go to church on Easter and Sunday and then call themselves a Christians, but they're the same ones cursing, the same ones struggling because you don't have a relationship with God. Oh my goodness, God, what are you doing for me? What do you mean? You haven't talked to me in 2 months. What do you mean? What am I doing for you? Okay, let's get into it. That is not how a relationship works. That's why none of us have these healthy, sustainable relationships with our partners, because you don't even know how to maintain a healthy relationship with God, because you come and talk to him twice a day, once a day, 2 times out of the year, at Easter Sunday and at Christmas time. And I'm like, what are you doing? There's no purpose of you coming here. The blessing, maybe it will change you. Maybe the message will change you that the preacher chooses. This preacher puts on this big extravagant show because, like, this is Easter Sunday. This is like the NFL game. We're at the Super Bowl over here. And I feel like I am sick and tired of it, because you be taking up my good seat on that Easter Sunday because you decided you want to come in for the resurrection and when Jesus was born. Like, what? Stay home. Watch it on your TV, please, because it's not doing anything for you, because you leave the parking lot and you go and act the same way and you don't speak to God and you don't see God until you do that in March, until you see him for Christmas. What is the purpose of it? Is not the same. Discover God for yourself personally, not what people are telling you to do, not what preachers are saying this is God, and you're not knowing God for yourself. Know God for yourself, and that's how you're going to build your relationship with God. So that's one thing that I learned navigating at 23 with God. Then another thing I learned when it comes to navigating with God is waiting, trusting, and your mental health. I had to learn about waiting on God's timing at the age of 19. That was when it really hit for me. Now, I imagine that I learned it years and years and years before, but it didn't hit like it hit at the age of 19. Moving to Florida was really rough on my mental health. I don't really talk about this situation, but it was really hard on my mental health and my emotional capacity. No one knows how much I struggled when I first moved to Florida. I don't really talk about it with my family. I had moved to Florida at 19, and I had stayed with a family member when I was going to college. The family member, she offered me to stay with her. Everything was handy and dandy until it wasn't. And the situation was not good for me at all. There was many nights, many nights I would cry myself to sleep. I could not do it. I feel like school was overwhelming. I'm moving into this new place. I don't have my mom. I don't have my brother, the people that I grew up with. Being alone the first time without my family, that was hard. Then I feel like I was at this place where I just didn't feel genuinely cared for and appreciated, and it felt really rough based on the way that I was being talked to, how I felt like I was being treated. It was hard for me. I did not appreciate it at all. I even sometimes broke down at work. It was so bad at one point that I could not stop crying at work. And God bless my boss at the time. She was amazing. And the people that God surrounded me with were amazing as well. And they kind of pulled me to the side, and I couldn't stop crying because of everything that I felt that was built up and over. I was just completely exhausted mentally. And that's when I started learning about people, boundaries, and seasons truly for myself in like an adult perspective. Because it's different when I was like a high schooler, beef with someone, you fall out with someone, and you know the rah-rah. It's different. But when I was doing this and I'm navigating through my adult life, I really learned that people are not the same. People will not always stay genuine. People will not always stay loving. People change, okay? People change. There are seasons, and sometimes seasons last for a very long time. Not everyone is meant to go with you in every season, and that is okay. We have to remember that. And it sucks. Sometimes you expect that this person is going to go with you in this next part of life, but then they're just not. And that is okay to know. I had to learn that the hard way, that everybody that I may have called my friend, or everybody that I thought I was cool with, they ain't with me now for this season of life. But the lessons that I learned with them, the things that they taught me, beautiful. I learned a lot. Some of them was hard. Some of the relationships was never bad. It just didn't continue on to the next season. And I had to learn that's okay, because then I do have people that have been with me for a very long season. And God really showed me in this time that protecting your peace is very important, even if it means stepping away from the people that I love. This was something that I am still trying to learn how to navigate, protecting my peace. I really do love my family, but there's a lot of things that I don't talk about when it comes with my family and how to navigate and protect that peace. And my goodness, when I say I need peace, and sometimes I feel like I have these conversations with like my mom or my grandma, and they're like, girl, you know, you need to forget. And I'm like, I've forgiven them. There's no ill will or hate in my heart towards this person. I love them with all my heart, but I don't want to be around them necessarily. I'm not ready for that, because anytime I'm around them, it's never anything good that comes out of their mouth about me. It's never anything nice. I can feel the energy shift when it comes to me, and I don't want to be around that. I don't have to be around that. This person don't do nothing for me. I don't, unless I choose. And I think this is really important, protecting your peace. I can still be respectful when I see them. I can still be cordial. We could even have a little moment, like, you know what I'm saying? But protecting my peace, even for the people that I love, I don't have to choose to be with you right now, and that's okay. And eventually you just realize, okay, like, this person is just not good for me. Like, that's okay. And I feel like that's fine. And this is where God told me, you know what? Sometimes you have to let go of people. Sometimes you feel like you have to cling on to people, have to hold on to these people. Girl, no, you don't. This is where trusting me comes through, because you could be all by your little lonesome, and I'm going to be here for you. And trusting that he would provide better relationships, better things for me. Trusting that he would heal me from these situations that happen. And my favorite scripture at the moment is Isaiah 55:11. So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty. Meaning, for me, and the season of navigating with when it comes to waiting, trusting in my mental health, whatever God has already set for me is going to happen. So regardless of these different things, of me feeling like I'm not at this mental capacity to handle it, for me feeling like, God, these people, you know, I don't know what to do with them. God, I'm trusting you. God, waiting on these different situations. It was like, girl, whatever I already said for you, it's not going to return to me empty. So whatever I proclaimed over you, it's going to come back to me 10 times more. I set you in this place to do good things. So good things are what you will do. So I would say, the first two things that navigating with God at 23 has taught me is, 1, religion versus relationship. 2, waiting, trusting, mental health has been a huge part of this journey with God that step by step I have to look at. So I feel like, if anything, like, especially when it comes to the being patient, not patient, but having boundaries, trusting, and having seasons, and telling people, like, listen, you're not good for my mental health right now. I need a break. I just want to let you know that is okay to say, okay? I also think the reality of the walk when it comes to God, walking with God is not easy. It's something that I find very challenging day to day, because people will test your inner saints, okay? I feel tested, especially at work. Oh my goodness. I don't even know if I talked about that in one of the videos. I'm a summer coordinator now. So basically, I'm the boss for the summer. I am running everything for the summer camp, right? And there's a lot of people that don't know that I don't know at summer camp, that smile in my face and yet still say that they deserve this position more than me. And sometimes I think it's a little slimy, it's a little shady, because you smile in my face and you tell me all these things, but yet still you are moving in silence to take my position away from me. These people are way older than me. I am one of the youngest people at this job. Everybody else, except maybe like a few other people that were the same age, I think it's like 2 of us that are the same age at this job. Everybody else is 28 and in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, talking about your old girl. And I've done nothing to nobody besides be positive, happy. But I've had moments at work where my inner saint was tested. And I had to show them the Jesus that was flipping tables, okay? Because you're not going to play with me like that, all right? And so this has been something that I have to say, this walk is not for the week. When you are walking with God, it's not always consistent. Sometimes you feel like you're drifting, and then those moments where I feel like I am tested beyond no measures, where I feel like I could just, it's like a terrible feeling. It really is. I say this with so much passion because I feel it sometimes so extremely, so heavily, because you're really trying to be a good person, genuinely, but there are some people that are put on this earth to test people. It's like, my goodness, you don't have nothing better to do. You ain't got nothing better to do but to test me and to try me and to test my patience and to test my love and to test the respectfulness that I like to give. Because I tell people I really am a nice person. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, I'm a nice person until you try me, until you play in my face. Because it's like, no, that's not how. Jesus ain't raised up no fool. He ain't raised up a foolish girly. He raised a nice, strong girly, and she's not standing for none of that, okay? None of that. And I noticed when it comes to the reality of the walk, you notice sometimes, okay, I'm starting to drift because I'm allowing this person to take me out of my character. I'm allowing this person to do these things. And I realized it is not about being perfect when it comes to walking with God, because trust me, if that was the case, I would have been long gone. It's really about being aware and coming back and noticing, you know what? You were wrong in that situation. Kendra, you need to fix yourself. You need to correct yourself, correct your posture. And sometimes I'm so grateful that God actually knows my heart deep down and knows how I am as a person. And I feel like a lot of the times people think that walking with God is so much easier, like life is going to be easy. But I don't know who told them this. Like, life is not easy when you're a Christian. Life is not easy when you walk with God. I feel like once you crack open that good old Bible, you will realize ain't nobody had it easy. Everybody had their challenge. You will be challenged. Your relationships will be tested. You will start to even become a new person. And that means you might not do the same things anymore. So people might not want to hang out with you. You may lose relationships. You may look at people like it's this whole whirlwind, and you're not into the world like you used to be. You're more chill, you're more grounded, you're more centered when your relationship comes with God. So it does test a lot of your friendships, a lot of your friends that maybe not on that same path as you when it comes to God, and they're still living in the world doing whatever, they do. And you're trying to start that foundation, start that relationship, trying to be better with God. It does tend to hinder you a lot. Your relationship with God is going to be tested. It's going to be off-centered a lot of the times. But as long as you're aware of your walk, your journey, how to get yourself back to God, because He's never left you. He's waiting for you right there. I feel like you'll navigate beautifully. You'll be fine. And that's something that I had to learn, that people will test you. They will test you. But how do you keep your composure? How do you keep everything about you? And I would say this summer coordinator position has taught me a lot when it comes with God. And now I've gotten so much better. Sometimes when I'm drained, because sometimes it is a lot weighing on you, because I've had to cut staff. You have to do, it's like a lot that you deal with behind the scenes as being like a boss for all. You're responsible for your teachers, your staff. You're responsible for your children. It's a lot. But I would say something that I have done every morning that has helped me is every morning I go in and I have I have a little speaker, and I play gospel music on there every morning, and I walk around the area that I'm in for morning care, and I just pray and I just worship. And it has made a difference in the way that I start my day. And I Bible study, because I have like 3 little kids with me in the morning, and it's just beautiful. So I wouldn't say I correct myself and try to make things better. And I'm just going to say the reality of the walk is not easy. You will be tested. You will be tried. You'll feel like, oh my goodness, this person don't know me. I'm da-da-da-da. You feel like that because you're like, you just take a deep breath, girl, or young man or young girl. Just take a deep breath and just know that God is with you. He's got you. Another part that I found out navigating with God, we're almost done, y'all. This is almost done. Just a few things. It's going to be a long sit down talk, y'all. Is what am I allowed to do as a Christian? Oh my goodness, this has been such a hot topic. What am I allowed to do as a person that's 23? She's navigating with God. She's trying to figure out, what's okay, what's not okay. Remember what I said before? That you'll have people that's not walking in the same aligned path with God. Yeah, it makes things real difficult. Honestly, I feel like it's different for everyone. Because listen, I am not here to judge you. What you still do and navigating with God is your business. But I do know that there are what's right and what's wrong, because God tells us that certain things are right and certain things are wrong. I do know what's right and what's wrong because God tells us these different things of what's being right, of what's being wrong. He tells us in Ephesians, let's not be drunk off of wine, be filled with his spirit instead. There's another part, I couldn't find it when I was looking for it. Oh my goodness. And I know I wrote it down somewhere in one of my thousands of journals, but I don't know where in my journal or which journal. It says something about what we are doing at night, what we're so bold to do in like the nighttime. Like when a lot of people go clubbing or they're doing all these promiscuous things. Be the same way during the day. He tells you that. Be the same way during the day. Like, don't have this double life that you're living when it comes to God. So I know there's rights and there's wrongs, but I am no one to judge you off of what you do. Okay? I will tell you, like, girl or man, you're not supposed to be doing that, but you do you. Like, that's just what you do. And so he tells you not to live a life where you feel like you have to hide anything. If you wouldn't do it out bright in the light and in front of Jesus, you shouldn't be doing it at night. And I feel like you don't have to club and party, like whoop whoop, to still have fun. I found a lot of things to have fun, things that I like to do in my spare time. Dance classes, I love to dance, okay? That's really been fun for me. I love reading. Reading is my favorite thing to do in my spare time. I have a whole bunch of books I love to read, and I have a Kindle. Love to read. Okay, if you know me, I'm a girl that loves like sweet stuff, okay? I feel like whatever brings me joy and peace without compromising my walk, whatever doesn't make my conscience think like, okay, I'm being hypocritical. I don't like that feeling of being hypocritical. Whatever I want to talk about on here, I don't want to do that behind the scenes. So that's what I try my best not to do. I want to try my best to navigate walking with God and not compromising myself. So I feel like for me, it just depends on whatever I feel like self-consciously, like, girl, I know that's wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. And I just kind of go from there. I feel like the praying is just something that's so beautiful. For me, as I've been navigating, because I never used to pray as much, but now I've gotten to the point where I'm praying all the time. And I think a lot of people need to realize prayer looks different for everyone. It's very different for everyone. Everyone does not pray the same. But if you're someone that maybe struggles with prayer, God even gives you some examples in the Bible of how to pray, how to do this if you need a little bit more help. Some people think there's only one way to pray, but that is really not true. It's all these different types of things. And yes, God gives us this guidance on how to pray, but he also wants your heart. He wants your heart to be in this right place. So this structure is very helpful if you're someone that is new to praying, you're struggling with praying, like I don't know how to really pray. So I would say start by thanking God for everything that he's done for you. Give him these things. Don't just go into your prayer starting off with what you need. Give a shout out to God for how good he's been to you. I would say then ask for forgiveness for anything you've done knowingly or unknowingly. Sometimes we think we went the whole day not sinning, but that is not true. Sometimes you do things that you don't even realize is a sin. Then pray for others, your family, your friends, even strangers. I always like to pray for the innocents of the world, because there's a lot of people that are innocent that are just going through it. And then finally, bring your own requests to him, your needs, your desires, your heart. But even if you don't follow this exact order, God hears you, okay? He still wants to hear you. He still wants to hear your voice. He just wants you to really talk to him. And there's some prayers in the Bible that would really help you, like Matthew 6:9-13. That's the Lord's Prayer, if you want that. And he tells you don't be anxious about everything, but petition everything unto him. So I would say praying is something that's powerful. Praying is how you speak to God. That's your cell phone. That's your, hey God, how you doing? That is it. For me, that is it. You pray about it and then you leave it alone and you see, boom, he works just like that. Sometimes it ain't as like this, is more like and then he snaps his fingers. Praying is something that I think is just beautiful and amazing, and something that I just really have learned how to truly do. And something, it's not here on this couch. I think it's in my room right now. My mom got me like a praying shawl, and it has scriptures on it. Oh my God, and I just love it, and I just like will wrap myself up in that. That's really beautiful for me. I love that. So I use that to pray. My grandma has a prayer closet. My mom, oh my goodness, sorry. My grandma has a prayer closet, and my grandma will have like different things around that. Always put up different scriptures and stuff. My mom, on the other hand, as much as she doesn't have like a prayer closet, because my grandma's closet is like a walk-in, but my mom is like, I don't know how you do this, but she kind of has like a prayer bathroom. I would say my mom in her bathroom, that's like her prayer area, I feel like. And she has these like papers everywhere that she'll put up with scriptures and stories. And there's this one story that I really, really love on there, and it kind of is this like woman complaining about, God asked her, like, how was your day? And she was like, well, God, it was really rough. And he's like, tell me about it. And she was like, well, first of all, I woke up late. And then he was like, and she was like, and then it made my coffee wrong. And then my tire, da, da, da. And then it was just all these different things. And then God was like, well, the reason why you woke up late was because someone was, trying it. And she was like, oh. And then he said, and the reason why your coffee machine was this, because there was this on the road and I didn't want them to hit you. And she was like, oh. And it was like this list of beautiful things of how we complain about how we've had this rough day, but not realizing how many times God saved us in that day. And I know where that is. And my mom's like, I just know, and I love going home and just reading that when I go visit her, because it's just a beautiful reminder of how God has everything orchestrated for you in your life. And that's why talking to him and praying with him is so important, because he'll tell you why he does the things that he does. And then my mom has these sticky notes everywhere in her room, just a positive affirmation, and she'll be like, Father, I know that this, and Father, and like she'll just, and it's just beautiful. So for me, I would say that's been something that's been really strong in my life, and doing things like that. And that for me, instead of doing that, my mom also taught me how to journal. Journaling is such a big part of my spiritual growth, I feel like. Shout out to my friend Betsy. She really helped me get back into journaling. My mom was a huge journaler growing up. My mom actually got me my first few journals, but it was never something I really did until I mentioned earlier, I moved to Florida. And I felt like everything was falling apart, and journaling became a form of guidance for me, because I felt like I could just write everything out to God. And I would literally write letters to God, like, God, da 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 da, da happened today. And it's beautiful. I love to see it. And even if you're not like a journaler, like I said, you should have something that can help you process those moments where you feel overwhelmed or stressed when it comes to connecting and aligning it with God. My journals are literally my book to God. It's my conversation with God in that moment. And for me, it's not just about writing these things because I'm overwhelmed. It's about reflecting. It's about being honest with myself, about being honest with God. Because sometimes when we're praying, we're not honest with God. But I feel like when God sees me crack open this journal, he knows this is my time for me being. My mom is another person that showed me how powerful journaling can be, because she journals almost everything, and then she sees really the abundance of love that God has placed and the blessings that God has placed on our lives. Because I love that she can look back and say, you know what, June 2023, I asked God on the 16th for da da da, and look at it, it's June 23rd, and she'll like, it's September, and it's just like beautiful to see the things that she's prayed for, the things that she's asked God for, the things that she's talked about, how God has showed up in our lives and done exactly those things that she said. Whether it's years later, a few days later, a few months later, it's powerful. Because and I feel like sometimes when she tells me these things, it brings me to tears, because it's like God showed up. Like, we don't think that God shows up, but he shows up in his beautiful timing. And when you look back and realize God did what you asked for, maybe not in your timing, but in his, it's powerful. It's something that you just feel like you should hold on. You start to see the growth, you start to see the miracles, you start to see the wonders and everything that you prayed for. And he tells you, and I don't know how to pronounce this chapter. I'm going to write it on the screen. Chapter 2, verse 2, write the vision and make it plain for God, and he'll have everything that you need for him. I just want to end this video of part 1 saying, for me navigating at 23 with God, all these things, my call and my confidence in Christ, I appreciate how God has been really shaping me to be this woman that I am. And when I sit back even doing this video and just talking about myself, I guess, and just how God has just been, this journey he's been showing me that I don't have to be perfect to be used. And I feel like I talk about this all the time, but it's really been something that I struggle with, and he's just does an amazing job with giving me that reassurance, and he's teaching me how to love myself the way he loves me. Everything that he's been giving me, he's giving me a blessing, and my students have been a huge blessing in my life. My students have given me probably the most reassurance and the most affirmations when it comes to God showing me this purpose. Shout out to them, because those babies are just beautiful babies. Although they got on my nerves in this last year sometimes, beautiful children. And I used to think I have it all together. And to be effective, I think I had to have it all together. But I know that God uses a real part of me. And He's showing me that my story, my struggles, my growth is all a part of this wonderful testimony. So as I close off part 1 on navigating with 23 of God, where I talk about religion versus relationship, how to get to know God yourself, the struggles of mental health, people trying you, journaling, spiritual growth. It is all this big wonder roller coaster that I feel like you just have to try out and just know that God is with you every step of the way. Until next time when I see you for part 2. Hey guys.